Alright guys, I'm almost back. Sorry for the long delay. Give me like 1 or 2 minutes. Alright, hello again everybody. This is Derek, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming in miniature live stream. This is our Wargaming Weekly. I try to do these weekly, but sometimes things come and go. Sorry for the delay. I had to try to get everything ready for the stream. And I'm going to turn this light on. Hopefully it doesn't blind you guys. Mainly for me. Alright. What I plan to do today is prepare these guys here for painting. I've already washed them in soap and water. Now I'm going to file off their bases. Not file them off, but file them smooth. And if you look over here in this tray, I've been working on the levies, the Burgundian levies, and that's what this 4-base unit is. But the Burgundian starter army from Old Glory came with a ton of extra peasants. So I went ahead and painted them up and based them as well. And we'll get into that when I do my 100 Years War project update. We'll be talking about those guys in detail. I plan to do that video later this afternoon. Now these guys, 99% of these guys are Blue Moon figures. And they're all two-handed weapons, except for the officers and the standard bearers. Now the Burgundians can have up to 3 units of dismounted knights as part of their retinue, army, whatever you want to call it. And that's what this is. This is 3 units of dismounted knights. And we're going to file off their bases so that they stand up evenly, you know, without any wobble, so that when I base them, they won't fall over, you know. Okay, my garbage can that I have right there between my legs getting full. I might have to take it out to the trash. But it's good for this. Okay, let me swap out my glasses, my reading glasses for my painting glasses. And we got Brian on there saying, thank you. Yeah, you almost had it. You spelled it with a Y. If I remember, after glancing over these figures, there were a few of them. I'll have to go through them more detailed, but there were a few of them that had excessive flash on the base. I should have autofocus turned on. Yeah. Let's see if I can. But yeah, you can see there's a little extra flash on this guy. Excessive. Some of the work that I do might be off camera. I'll try to keep most of it on camera. Here is a sprue snipper. When it's a little bitty piece like that, this is soft enough metal that sprue snippers will work just fine. It's not like it's stainless steel or anything. To get the excessive bumps out so that when I file it, I'm not filing that extra large bump. Okay, I don't see any like really large bumps that need to be snipped off. Okay, these glasses might not be magnification enough, so I'm gonna grab my work magnifiers. Now, each of these units are 4 bases. And each base it's a close formation. So each base should have 4 figures. So you're looking at a 16 figure base. Is my math doing right? 4 by 4? Yeah, so a 16 figure unit. And then three units. What is that, 78? 3 times 16. No, not 78. What am I talking about? 48, right? Yeah, 48 sounds right. let me do math the other way. Four figures times 12 bases. Right? So 4 times 12. Yep, that's 48. These guys have two-handed hammers. The two-handed, what do they call it? Lucerne hammer. But they also have two-handed axes and two-handed spears. In the game, the knights have an ability called two-handed two-handed, I want to say cut and thrust, but that's not right. It's two-handed cut and crush. Two-handed, yeah, I think it's cut and crush. But my my mind says two-handed weapon of any kind will fit into those categories. Now, I went through my Old Glory packs because I've got a number of Old Glory knights. I have the starter army, which the Burgundian starter army, which did not come with any dismounted knights. I think it did come with a handful of dismounted men-at-arms. But I went through my Old Glory, my loose packs of Old Glory. You know, a bunch of them that I have for sale on my eBay store. And I kind of looked in each of the packs. I didn't open them up. I just, looked into the plastic. And almost every one of them, if not all of them, have one-handed weapons and shields. Like swords or axes or maces or hammers, but they have all that and shields, and those are all one-handed weapons. And they would work, as filler. If I needed to put like two or three figures with two-handed weapons, and then just throw a single figure on the base with a one-handed weapon, that would look just fine, and it would, to me, it would satisfy the appearance that it was a unit of two-handed weapons. But then I looked at my Blue Moon Knights, and I had a couple of packages with that contained two-handed weapons. So I said, you know what, I'll just use these Blue Moon Knights because it fits better into what I'm trying to do. The standard bearer doesn't want to stand up straight. Once I put the standard on there, I think he would stand up better. Because the flag, oh, there we go. The flag would pull on him. So once I opened up the Blue Moon packages, I opened up both, and they come with about 30 figures in a bag. So I knew I was going to have enough to do a bunch of stands. I could probably do a bunch of bases of knights. And I probably should do that. I probably should pull some of those single weapon knights out. And intermix them with these guys. Just to make the two-handed weapons go further. If that makes sense. For the English and the French, I might do that. But these Burgundians, I'm just going to go ahead and use all two-handed weapons. Just going to go all in. Now these guys are going to be like super easy to paint, I think. I'm not going to do a spray primer because it's too cold and damp outside. And I let my miniatures dry, the primer dry outside so that it doesn't stink up the house. So I'm going to brush primer the just like I did the peasants. I brush primered them. Before I even get to the metal of their armor, I'm going to brush prime gray because I've got a Vallejo gray primer. It's kind of a polyurethane. It's not a acrylic. I don't know what it is. It's made by Primer Acrylic, but I need to find where it says it in English. Okay. Acrylic polyurethane primer. says allow the primer to dry for 12 hours. So after I put the brush on primer, it doesn't stink, so I can let it dry inside the house. Controlled environment, so there's no humidity, snow or rain or cold, because that's what it is outside. It's all of those. It's cold, it's rainy, it's got snow on the ground. Um, so it'll dry inside. And then what I'll do is I'll do a black brown over the entire thing. Kind of a watered down black brown. So it'll, not a wash, but it'll kind of settle. Majority of it will be inside the cracks. But some of it, or a lot of it, will be on the surface, making it a brown figure, basically, making it a black brown, which dries pretty dark. And then once that's on, I plan to take my metallic and do like a wet brush. I call it wet brushing. It's like dry brushing, but not. I don't take all of the paint off my brush. I just quickly brush everything onto the miniature with quick strokes. So it's kind of like halfway between dry brushing and actually painting. It's like a dry brushing technique, but with wet paint on your brush. It's like a quick paint, and I'll do that with the metallic. So it'll go over the entire model. And it will sit well on top of dark brown. Because remember, metallics don't stick on white very well. Metallic colors, you should always paint them on top of a dark color like a black brown or a black, maybe even a dark gray like a Panzer gray. Metallics will go on top of that. They'll go on top of like a wood brown color, but they won't look as good as if you put them on top of a black. And then once I get the metal dry brushed on there, wet brushed, only a handful of these guys have an open visor. I'll paint their faces. None of their hands are exposed. They're all in gauntlets. And then I'll paint all everything else, the weapons and the belts. I don't know. I'll have to look closely. Like this guy looks like he has a tabard on, and it looks like it's over the armor. Yeah. I'll have to paint him. But what I'll be doing is I'll be painting on top of the metallic, which is perfectly fine. It'll look okay. It'll look good, actually. Once I get these guys filed, I'll take a look at your chats. I don't want to. So I anticipate painting these knights, even if there are 48 of them, pretty quickly. Now, if they're a Burgundian knight, I don't expect them to have the blue and the white and the red cross. Every knight had their own unique heraldry. I plan to just paint some basic heraldry on these guys. You know, like red on one side, yellow on the other, or like maybe a yellow tunic with like a red chevron or something like that. Basically, early Middle Ages, not the late Middle Ages where they started to have like super fancy heraldry. In my understanding, the cause of that was early on, they were just one color. And then there was a marriage or a birth or something. And then, so maybe the blue kingdom married the yellow kingdom. So now their descendants had blue and yellow on their shields. And when that father well, we won't. When one of those kids married, they added an animal or a chevron. So you had like blue and yellow with a goat head or something. And then the blue and yellow goat married the red and white dragon. So then they quartered the shield, so you would have in the upper left corner the blue and white or the blue and yellow goat, and in the lower left you'd have like the red and white dragon. And then it got more detailed and more detailed as time went on. Okay. Okay. Filing is done. I still see that I need to clip some, not shields, but some flash off of various parts of the model, so we'll do that here in just a second. Okay, I guess there's not any chats. Nope. Okay. All right. This last week, I had a package out in the mailbox. And for at least 3 days. Oh, wait, what is that? Is that the beginning of a blister? Might be. I'm going to put a Band-Aid on it just in case it starts to think it wants to become a blister. Bear with me. This is preventative armor here for this pinky. Come on now. There we go. Okay. These are all filed. Now all I'm doing now is just clipping. If there's any need for clipping. I do like the Blue Moon models. I really like them. I think they're top quality. This guy's got a tunic on as well. Or surcoat, or whatever you want to call it. I think most of them do, actually. This guy's got a cape on. He fancies himself important. Now, this is just the flash we're going for right now. I still need to go over these models and clean off their mold lines. There's really not a whole lot of mold lines, but I still want to go over it just to make sure. Specifically around the helmet, because that should be smooth. Okay. Yeah, this is the one that made me think of it. Little piece of metal went flying. Yeah, my point, what I was saying was about the mail, right? I put a package out in the mail, waiting for it to get picked up. And my wife kept saying, mail didn't run today, mail didn't run today. For like 3 days. So I've got another couple of packages that have to go out today. When I go out there, hopefully my package has been picked up Saturday. Sunday, I wouldn't expect it to be picked up because mail doesn't run Sunday. But if my package doesn't get picked up today, I'm going to have to notify the post office and find out what's going on. I fully understand, like, when there's a holiday or even like when they get backed up, that packages don't get delivered on time, but they should always be picked up. You know, maybe not on the holidays, but on a regular day, when it's not a holiday, they should be picked up. Put into the system at least. I worked on my shelves, reorganizing them, readjusting their height, or get maximum tubbage, spacing or whatever. No wasted space. And I also went through some of my tubs. And I found that some of them could be combined. Like, I might have 4-inch squares in one tub and 6-inch squares in another tub. but all the squares would fit into one tub. Which I still need to do. I mean, I'm speaking from, that's the latest tubs that I'm working on. But once I do that, I'll put a label on the tub or in the tub so that you can see it from the outside. And it might say 4-inch squares, 6-inch squares. So that if I need a 4-inch square, I can look up at the tub, I can see the label, I can say, oh, here they are, and pull them down. I've already done that with all my armies. In the drawers that are over here, I got drawers. And I moved some of my loose miniatures from tubs into drawers. Partially because once I get the loose miniatures painted and put into armies, they're going to need a drawer. So I'm kind of like reserving a drawer for that army by putting their loose figures in that drawer. I thought it made sense. I'm putting all my terrain in either the tubs or the shelves. Like some buildings are in tubs, like the 12mm ones. But the 15mm buildings, I went in and just put on the shelf. And the fences and hedges and walls, I put that in a tub. But the fields and the crops and the lake and stuff like that, I laid out on the shelf. Because I don't think they'd fit in a tub. Roads and rivers, I left in a box. I'm not sure if they would fit in a tub. If they'd fit in a tub, I'm going to swap them out. But I left them in a box because I think they're too long for a tub. I think they're like 12 inches. And I think the tub is 11 inches. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Because I was trying to take all the boxes that I was storing stuff off the shelves because it looks ghetto. It doesn't look very clean. The tubs look good, especially when I put the label on them. Uh, Cleaning off all this flash using my snipper. There's not going to be a whole lot of mold lines that I'm going to need to fix. I'm really not seeing any mold lines on these guys. I saw it on a few of them. So I will go over them with my X-Acto just to make 100% sure that they are ready. Yeah, when I did my peasants, I washed them with dark tone. And I think it darkened them up too much. Been thinking about going over them with some highlights just to bring the color back up a little bit. But I kind of low key like the dark because it kind of gives them like a dirty, I'm a peasant, I've been working in the field all day look. You know, and I kind of like that. But I still might do the red and the blues, just a little bit of a watered down top coat. I might do one of those right now just to see what it would look like. And green. The grays, I don't think I need to worry about. Okay, looking at these guys, right? They look fine. Trying to get the focus to work here. See, they look okay on the base, but they look a little bit too dark. I'm going to take that red, green, and blue and kind of give it a little bit of a touch up, if that makes sense. And see if it does what I want it to do. If it doesn't, I'll just leave it alone. If that makes sense. Now the green, I think I was using this splinter green, which is already kind of a darker green, but that's okay. Oh, I'm gonna have to do this in one of these tubs because I plan to add water. Excuse me, water. A lot of water, almost 1 to 1. Let that green dry a little bit. Gonna do the same with the blue. It's almost just like colored water. When it goes on, it almost looks excessive. But when it dries, it'll dry almost transparent. Last but not least is the red. Okay. Put the red on those guys. I'll let those guys dry a little bit more, and it should brighten them up a little bit where they don't look as dark and dingy anymore. This is still wet, but I think, I don't know, focus. Come on, where you at? I can't tell with these glasses on. Whoa, they almost took a dirt nap. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay, and that makes that red and green and everything look a little bit brighter, but it still has to dry because it's still wet. And if I compared them with maybe these guys, see, these guys are a little darker. Um, okay, now the question is, does it even make a difference? I think it does. I think the red really stands out. The green and the blue, not so much, but that red really makes a difference, doesn't it? Yeah. Or I could just leave them dirty like that. I don't know. It's not that big of a difference. Brian says, nice. I appreciate it. Ooh, hold on. My body is speaking to me. Okay. Mm. Okay, let's do a. I'm fighting my body. Okay. What are we doing? Exacto knife. We're going to trim anything that needs to be trimmed, which I don't think is much. Put the knife down. Looks like I'm going to have to go use the bathroom here in just a second. I'm holding it to get these guys done. I'll be back. I don't want to hold it too long. You know what I mean? Because something might happen. So what do I put? I put be right back. And then I'll put it right there. I'll be right back. Bring it back. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, let's finish these guys up. Let's work on them. And put my working glasses back on so I can see. So I've been streaming late at night, like after midnight, right? I've got this Star Citizen game that I play. Really, it's still in what you might call an alpha state. It's not feature complete. And I'm testing it, playing and testing it at the same time. Okay, this thing is bent, but I can fix it. There we go. Yeah, it looks a lot better. And I've been streaming it. I've been streaming my gameplay, you know, from about 2 to 4 in the morning. Because I'm up at that time, not doing anything. And the family has gone to bed. And what I've been doing in the past is recording videos for various topics, mostly historical miniatures. But in the past, like 2 years ago, I would stream this game called Star Citizen. And I got tired, I got burnt out basically, and took a 2-year break. Letting it get, because remember, it's still an alpha, it's still, you know, players are getting, your progress is getting wiped and the features are changing, like how you fly is different now than how you flew 2 years ago, etc. There's a lot of changes, and it was getting to the point where I was getting not just frustrated, but just burnout, just the constant change. And so I put it down for a while. And then I went back to it a couple of months ago. And I'm having a really good time. They've added a lot of new stuff that, you know, it's been 2 years. So they've added a lot of new stuff. And so I've been streaming it after midnight. And I'm telling you, I'm getting a lot of player interaction. What do I mean? Not player, viewer. I'm getting a lot of viewer interaction. Viewers are commenting or chit-chatting with me, or, you know, we're having conversations. And that's fun. I still go around and do my own thing, but people get on there and say, hey, how's it going? You know, how do you do this in the game? Or why are you doing that? Or can you do this? Or, you know, just basically lots of stuff like that. And I'll be glad to answer their questions because it keeps me engaged, it keeps them engaged. Everybody learns. I even signed up to be a guide on their website, but I did that like 2 years ago before I got burnt out. And the guide system's not really a good guide system because you have to check the website. It should be in the game. You should have a tag or something on your name that says that you're a guide. I did the same thing in City Heroes. They had this thing called a helper. And if you wanted to be a helper, all you had to do is say yes. And then a tag will go on top of your name that says helper. So that people will come to you and ask questions or get you to help them with certain tasks or whatever. But my point is, what I was trying to get at is, I'm getting a lot of interaction after midnight on my Star Citizen live streams. And then one night, I had one of my viewers said that I was being recommended by YouTube. I was on the cover page or something like that. That was really exciting. So I might do more Star Citizen videos. Let me rephrase that. Star Citizen live streams. My strongest viewer count is still on my historical miniatures videos. You know, I usually get 300 to 400 viewers on a historical miniature video. And not all historical miniature videos. It has to be a certain genre. This 100 Years War, I'm getting a ton of videos, a ton of views on these. And all I'm doing is updating people on my progress. It might be the Meg viewers are coming to check out, because that's what it is. It's the game is Meg. The era is 100 Years War. But when it comes to live streaming, there's no equal. My Star Citizen gets way more than my historical stuff. So recorded videos, I might start doing a lot of miniatures, and then live streams, I might do games. And one reason why there was a big delay this morning, because there was like a 30-minute delay. I was actually downloading a version of Star Citizen that it was taking a lot of my bandwidth. And I didn't want to stream and download at the same time. Plus, I had to get everything ready. So I was killing two birds with one stone. Which segues me to another topic that I have. It's terminology. This is a pet peeve of mine. When you use the wrong word online, it bugs me. It shouldn't. I should just say, "Oh, that person's ignorant." But it frustrates me because I see more than one person doing the same thing. I think it's generational. One of the words is hype. And turret. And orient. Now, with all honesty, the orient word, I was using it wrong in the Army when I was 18 years old, 19 years old. I was using it wrong, and my instructor had to tell me that I was using it incorrectly. And I appreciate him doing that. And I'm seeing these kids online doing exactly what I did. I would say, like, if you have a compass and you're trying to get it oriented in the right direction, what I would say, and what they are currently saying, is orientate. That's not a word. It's not orientate. And that's what I would say. I would say, "Oh, I'm going to take my compass, I'm going to orientate it to this map." No, you orient it. You orient it. Orient it to the map. You don't orientate. You don't get orientated. You get oriented. That's just one of the words. The other one is turret. I hear kids putting an N in turret, and you hear them say turret. Turret. That's not right. It's not a turret. It's a turret. Only a drop left in that. Okay. So I'm going to monster. And finally, the last one is hype. I'm sure it's not the last one. Okay, I've got a box around here somewhere. There it is. With all the... that's another thing. I prepared these this morning. Whoa. Oh. Move this trash can. Scooch a little closer. I thought about putting like all the axes on one, all the hammers on another, but I still think I might do that, actually. Okay. The last one is hype. Okay. and they use it improperly. Hype is a word. That's not I don't have a problem with that. But it's just the way they use the word. Okay, let's get that out of my way. Just to give me some room here. You have hype and you have hyped with an ED at the end. The subject that causes you to be excited is the thing that generates hype. It generates hype. You, the receiver of this enthusiasm or excitement, you are not hype. Nothing gets you hype. What it does is it gets you hyped with an ED at the end. You, subject to influence, becomes hyped. So when I see an influencer or a YouTuber or whatever say, man, that GM choice really got me hype, I want to scream at them through the monitor. That GM choice did not get you hype. It got you hyped. You got excited. You're hyped. There were a total of 6 of each of the poses. I didn't pull all 6. Some of them I did. Some of them I swapped with other poses. Okay. Pig-faced bassinet with an axe. These guys look like they have salets with their visors up. I like a good salet. Or as the Seventh Son streamer says, salad. It's not salad, it's a salet. But he might be trolling because he knows better. I think he knows better. Okay, that's an axe. This is a hammer. Oh, there's like 7 of these. Hold on, that can't be right. It's not. That guy's a hammer. Okay. Okay. So they're grouped into their respective poses. And because I do 6 on a stick, I'll do 1 pose per stick. And then what I can do when I'm painting them is just know that they're going to be going into different units. It doesn't really matter because knights, I'm gonna try to do a variety of colors. Doesn't mean I'll succeed, but I'm gonna try to give. Well, I'm not going to be able to do all 48 in unique patterns. And I want the units to kind of stand out. Put all the blue in one unit, put all the green in one, all the red in one. Because even the knights, I think, served under a lord of some kind. And they might be wearing the livery, not of themselves, but of the guy above them. Like Exeter, right? I'm just using that as an example. He might have had a certain color, and then all of his knights might be wearing that color. But I also could be very wrong. Now I ordered some more Blue Moon models. They should be coming in. But unfortunately, I think they're duplicates of models that I already have in. So it's not like it's a big deal. It just means instead of one bag, I'll have two bags of X, Y, and Z. I think I ordered some Blue Moon Napoleonics. Um, just as a trial. Technically, my army is already finished. That's not true. I gotta do the generals, the personalities. But I've already got the crossbowmen and longbowmen. I already have the lowland, the low country pikemen. I have the mounted knights and castiliers. And those are the only units that are mandatory. The dismounted knights are optional. Just to flesh out the points, the perks. But I'm aiming towards a 10,000 point army. Oh, I also have to do a campsite, don't I? Okay, well, I'll do the campsite at the same time I do the generals. I have the campsite tents. I ordered them way back when I ordered the Burgundian starter army. So I guess when I dry brush the metal, I guess I won't need to dry brush on top of the tabards, because it looks like the majority of them have tabards. And because this is a medieval Burgundian army and not an ordnance Burgundian army, I'm going to do basic heraldry. You know, it's going to be 1431 or so. I think I should probably look at a battle that took place about that period and see who participated. I'm really upset about little big men closing their doors. I mean, I have no control over that. I'm glad that he sold it and not just threw everything away. I'm glad that he sold it to Victrix. But I don't know if Victrix is going to take up the 15 millimeter flags. From what I can tell, they haven't. And not just the flags, but the shield decals, like my Romans. Luckily, I have all the Roman decals I need for my Caesarian Romans. My Republican Romans, I don't think I have all the decals I need. Then again, I might, because I have a lot of Roman decals. A lot. Too many, actually. Now, I ordered some plastic Romans from a plastic soldier company. They're printed by Cromartie, and their shields come with heraldry molded into the plastic. So that's just a put it together and paint it kind of thing. Okay, 3 standards, because there's 3 units, and that uses up all my standard bearers. But I've got about 5 pikemen left over from the lowlands, and I could very easily put a standard length pike in their hand. And I can make 5 more standard bearers. Easy. Because they're armored. They're fully armored. Okay, maybe not fully armored. Their pants are exposed. But I looked at these, either musicians or standard bearers, one or the other, and they pretty much have the same armor. Now, my mounted officers, my generals, I think I have 2 standard bearers. Yeah, I think I've got like 2 standard bearers with my mounted officers. I think I want to have a standard. I want to have at least 3 standards. I don't know. See, this is from Cotton Jim. This is the only Burgundian flag set that I have, and you can see that it's got 3 of the same here. They're just black, red, and yellow. But then you got the major Burgundians. This one's going to be for the overall commander. Yeah, this one's going to be for the overall commander. These can be for other lesser commanders. I was thinking maybe this could be a commander. this could be a commander, and that would be 3 generals. But I want... Is it 3 generals? I think it is. And then these 3, I was thinking putting on these units here. So that's what I'm thinking with those guys. Now these are 100 Years' War little big men. You can see that's definitely English and French. That's going to be Henry V or whatever, and the Dauphin. And this will be another general, most likely. I'm not sure who is supposed to be carrying this, and I'm not sure who, and there's 3 here. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't know who's supposed to be carrying these 3. I'm thinking the 3 generals. You got 2 tiny ones right here, banners, and you got various little banners here too. Those can all go on units. And then pavés, there's not a whole lot. I got 2 sets of these, right? So yeah, there's 2 decal sheets in here. And then I also have medievals remaining. And these have a few little banners. Not many, but there's a few little banners. And then they also have these I would think they went on comparisons, but I could make a banner like that and then stick one of these larger medieval animals onto the basically make my own standard. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that. Okay, so these guys are ready for prime time. What do I do with it? It's right here. Ready for primer time. Really? Now the primer I like putting on with a stiff brush. Yep, that's the one. 14. Yeah, it's fairly stiff, fairly large. And then what I'll do is I push it into the model. Okay, it's 11:30. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, this is going on pure. I don't add water to thin it down. I don't put any flow additive in it or anything. I just go straight out of the bottle. These models look a little bit, I don't know, they feel like they're a little bit larger than Old Glory. I might have to compare the size. One thing about polyurethane acrylic is I think it shrinks when it dries, which will make it adhere to the model better, I think. I thought about getting an airbrush just for priming models, dull coating or priming. And then brush painting all the details. But I don't really have anywhere that I can use the airbrush where it wouldn't make a mess. I mean, I could put up a little booth right here, an airbrush right here. And since I'm only doing like a primer job, really thin coats or whatever. That was another thing. The bottle said apply this primer in thin coats, implying that you should do at least 2 coats, which I find this to be true because if you do just 1 coat, in my experience with my brushing and everything, I miss a spot. Like on that first one, I missed part of his helmet. And by going back with a second coat, you'll notice these indiscrepancies and you'll fix them. Are they indiscrepancies or are they just plain old discrepancies? Me and my word language. They're discrepancies. They're not indiscrepancies. Okay, coat 1. One reason why I like this light gray, and I specifically hunted for the best light gray on the market, and I found Vallejo. They just call it gray, but it's light gray. And I went up specifically and I got a bunch of different primers, and I settled on this one because of the color and the fact that it adheres to the miniature really good. Mainly probably because it's got a polyurethane inside of it, which makes it very durable. And when I brush it on, it doesn't take away any of the detail of the model. Because like I said, I think it shrinks when it dries. And it just shrinks down into all those little cracks and crevices. Now, part of the problem of shrinking, guys, you know what I'm talking about. No, part of the problem of shrinking is that it opens up gaps in the paint or the primer. So we'll just use that previous helmet as an example. So I completely cover the helmet with primer, but then it dries, and if it shrinks, it'll like open up a part of the helmet that's no longer primed because it shrank and gaps appeared or whatever. So by going over and doing a second coat, you're filling those gaps. Hopefully. I don't always do a second coat. I'll admit it. Hold on. There was a little bit of flash sticking out on that side. It almost looked like an Aventail. That's why I had to look at the model. I said, does that model have an Aventail? It does not. That was Flash. Flash. Ah, savior of the universe. So who's excited for the new Superman movie? I am so hype. Oh, I couldn't resist. No, I'm hyped. Hype ED. Hyped. Yes, I am hyped for the new Superman movie. Not because I really love Superman or because I love the DC universe or anything, but mainly just because it looks like it's going to be pretty fun. And it looks like finally we're going to get a crypto that I can get behind. I love me some crypto. And I'm not talking about Bitcoin. Okay. These guys all look good from the back. I haven't touched the front. Okay, got it. Now I thought about what the heck? There's a few spiders that hanging out that I didn't even notice the first time I did it. Okay, but there's um very there's crypto has been done in other media, but just not as good as what it looks like in this movie, and I'm excited. He's probably going to have a very bit part. He's probably not even going to have a. He's probably only going to have a minute or two on the camera. Because my understanding is he really comes into play during the Supergirl movie. Which they're supposed to be beginning filming that movie this month, I understand. I'm about to give you a spoiler, and you can take it for what it's worth. This is not fact. This is only a hypothesis. So, so take that for what it is. But in the comics, Supergirl has a series that's called Woman of Tomorrow or something like that. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Something like that. And her movie, the Supergirl movie, is called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So I wonder if they are going to be taking the story from that series straight into the movie. I suspect they are. That's why I'm about to say what I'm about to say. Crypto is in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Superman gives her crypto to look after, as a babysitter, house sitter, whatever you want to call it, while he goes and does something. I don't know what that something is, but she basically has possession of crypto. You know, and then in the movie, or I should say in the comic, Crypto gets shot with an arrow. Oh, look at that. Okay, two of these models. I wish I had noticed it earlier. The gap between their arm and their weapon is filled with metal. It won't be noticeable at all, but I notice it. Ah, there we go. And I think Crypto dies in the comic. But I think it's here's a spoiler. But it's not really a spoiler if it's already in the comics and it's been in the comics for decades. So everybody that's read the comics would know this story. So they might deliberately change the story to kind of throw people off, like it's an alternate reality kind of thing. But my understanding is that Crypto and Kara, Supergirl, pretended for Crypto to get killed. And he wasn't actually killed. It was like a ruse or a ploy of some kind. I don't know because I didn't read that comic. I've never really been a very strong DC fan, but I am starting to get into. I'm starting to like DC. Um, I never really did like the Christopher Reeves Superman. I know everybody says, "Oh, he's the best Superman." No, no, he's not. I really like Henry Cavill. I thought he was a good Superman. I would like to have seen Henry Cavill do more uh, heroic things. Save a cat in a tree, or rescue a boy who fell out of a window, or that kind of stuff. But I also understand that Superman, the Henry Cavill Superman, was more about saving the world and less about being a superhero. I mean, yeah, he saved people when he was a kid, and they did show that, which was really cool. But he didn't really save people when he was an adult. My favorite superhero, or I should say Superman, was the CW Superman and Lois. I really liked him in that role. And I think they did a really good artsy way of ending that series. I didn't like it. I didn't like the story that they were telling, but I liked the way they told it. I thought it was a very artsy way to say the final show, but it really felt like the last season was rushed. Like they were planning on doing multiple seasons and then it got canceled. That's the way it felt. And I can see why it would have got canceled because they were starting to it was starting to slow down. But even so, it was really good. I guess they all have that. I'm not really looking forward to the new Captain America movie. The Falcon as the Captain America. He's just not Captain America to me. I'm also not looking forward to the Thunderbolts. That's probably going to be a very fun movie to watch, and I'll watch it, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not excited. I'm not hyped about it. It's a bunch of B characters. I'm looking forward to Stranger Things coming back. I heard it was coming back after the long hiatus. Yeah, and it's too bad that DC can't get it right. They can't get their TV series movie universe. They can't nail it on the head. Even though the latest version I thought was pretty good. Justice League and Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman, I thought, and The Flash, I thought they did a really good job with all of those. Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with all those. Unfortunately, someone said they needed to do another reboot, yet another reboot. And I'm okay with Gunn taking over. I think he's going to make it a fun movie. It's going to be more heroic and less um, world shattering or whatever. Even though there probably will be a world shattering something going on. But probably not, because I think it's going to be more of a like a Lex Luthor driven villain, and not, someone coming from another planet to just to terraform the earth. And then in the trailer where he saves that little girl that obviously was clueless that there was a giant monster behind her. Maybe she's deaf. That was the first thing that went through my mind, was she was deaf and looking the wrong direction. And he swoops down and saves her. That's the kind of Superman I want to see. And I'm glad they changed his hair as Clark Kent. The glasses as a mask is not good enough, I don't think. But you combine the glasses and the hair, it's believable that he's not the same person. Oh, this is the last stick, huh? Okay. Okay, these two guys, same model, they have a plume and a sash. Where the guy in the middle doesn't have a plume, but he's got a cape on. They all had a piece of flash right at the exact same spot on their spear. It's like right halfway down the shaft of the spear. Okay, I think everybody's got their first coat. And they've been cleaned. So now we're going to go with the second coat. But only if they look like they need it. That's not true. I'm giving them all a second coat. A very thin second coat. Yeah, I think the tabards, surcoats, or what have you, I think I'm only going to do primary colors. I'm not going to do too, I'm not going to make them too fancy. Once I get these primed, I'm actually going to pull something up on the website, or I should say on the internet, not the website. I'm going to pull up the army list because it lists the battles that Burgundy participated in. And then I'll go to the interwebs and I will look up that battle and see if they have any kind of order of battle. Battlefield map or something like that. Because what I'd like to do, what I always like to do with all my armies, is gear them towards a specific battle. Now, I kind of was gearing my English and my French towards Agincourt. But since I'm doing a Burgundian army first, I'm going to look at and see what battles Burgundy fought in around 1431. And the reason why I'm choosing 1431 is because that's when, in the army list, things change to gunpowder. They get handgunners and they get cannons. And I think that would just be cool to have. I mean, a knight is a knight, right? You don't have to worry about what era that knight is. I can just, unless he's got some kind of crazy armor on or something. But all the ones that I've been working on all seem to be, they can work in multiple eras. Now, Martin was saying that the War of the Roses, 1450. If that's true, Philip the Good would still be alive during the War of the Roses. But I think his army would have changed to an ordnance army by then, so I'm not sure. But we're going to look it up in just a second. And all the images of a Burgundian knight always shows the full plate, no tabard. You know? I need a medieval Burgundian. Looked like there was a little snake design or something on his sheath. Scrape that off. Are those gloves or are those gauntlets? They kind of look like gloves. Okay, everybody's got their second coat. You got to really clean the brush. If you don't get all that polyurethane off of there, you'll have ruined your brush. Oh, I was going to say, I think I've got it all, but no. All right. Switch to my reading glasses. Now we're going to readjust cameras a little bit here. Bear with me. Just so I can get to my keyboard. All right, so move the stream to the side. Go to center display. Let's see if I can turn that on. There we go. So we're looking right here where it says House of Valois or House of Valor. Those are all 55s. So I just scroll down to 55s. Whoops, I went too far. There's 56, 5509, medieval Burgundy. That's the army list of what I'm working on right now. This goes to 1471. Okay. So you would have to do Burgundian ordnance. Wait, 1471. Oh, okay. Yeah, so 1450 is the War of the Roses, which I don't know if that's true. Edward the Fifth, Fourth, Edward the Fourth English. That's War of the Roses, right? Yeah, 1475. That's late. Okay, but this is Magna, which doesn't provide historical context. So let me find the Maximus medievals. Looking around my camera. There it is. House of Valois. Okay, see now, that shield right there, I could do that. You know what I mean? I could do that. Okay, and all of it now is Valois image. Oh, okay, that's just that. That's the introduction to the Valois, right? But 5509. History of Medieval Burgundy. There we go. 1471. Okay, and these are the dukes. Okay, and that's why things change in 1420, is because when Philip the Good took over, I guess things changed. And he lasted until 1467. Can I do this? I can do that. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Annexed by the throne, succeeded, assembly, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Right. Next page. There we go. 1430? That's too early, right? Because 1431, something changed. Excuse me. And I don't want to do a siege. That just doesn't seem... I'm not excited by sieges. That's not a really good tabletop battle, right? But the Battle of Neville. Burgundians under John defeat rebel army of Ghent. 1452. Okay, there's a couple of battles in 1452. Battle of Basel. Burgundians under John defeat rebel army of Ghent. A year later. Ugh. Something in my throat. Okay, so that's a good set of years, 52 to 53. Okay, but I'm going to look up Battle of I don't want to create a PDF. Look at that doggy. I want to... Battle of Neville's Cross? No, that's not the right one. Battle of Neville? 1813? No. They're not spelling it right anyway. When was it? It was 1452. Okay. A diversionary invasion of England during the Hundred Years' War led to a battle outside of Durham. Wrong battle. Neville's Cross. Okay. 100 Years' War battles. These are not in chronological order. A list of, okay, here we go. I might be able to just take one off of here. These are all 1300s. I need to get to 14. Here we go. 1400s. 14. I'm looking at 1431-ish. Okay, see that siege? I don't want to deal with it. I want Burgundy. Yeah, they don't show the Burgundian battle. That ends the 100 Years' War. Phases. Maybe they don't consider the Burgundian. Okay, French Burgundy. That's still real early. Okay, let's try this. Burgundian 100 Years' War battles. Burgundian Wars. 1477. Okay, that's too late. That would be the Swiss battles, and that would be the ordinance. Okay, there's a 1423. Here's French and Milanese forces defeat a Burgundian army. Okay, battle French. That's France and England. The Anglo-Burgundian grand strategy. See, that's 1346. Okay, that's Burgundian War of Succession. In order. Okay. The Revolt of Ghent was a rebellion by the city of Ghent against the Burgundian states. Okay, here we go. Rebellion was eventually suppressed by the Burgundians. The Burgundians of Ghent surrendered to Philip the Good. Gavera. The Ghent War. Okay. The city of Ghent against the Burgundians. It lasted 4 years. Sorry, guys. Okay. Does it talk about the different battles? Causes? The war? That might be a different spelling. Yeah, it's something. Okay, John of Burgundy. No. You can get. There's the Battle of Basel. What battle was I looking for? Neville. Yeah, there's Gavery or whatever it is. There's Basil. But what about Neville? I don't know. I'm going down a rabbit hole. Okay, the war causes background. Here we go. This is a Flemish. Oh, the good. I didn't know anything about this. I thought I was a Burgundian aficionado. Apparently I'm not. Causes flour, of course. On Friday, and I have to make it a month earlier. The Ghent city government was forced to do the thing. Siege. Not really wanting to do any kind of siege. Battle of Basel. Philip the Good, Duke of Burgundy, and the rebel city of Ghent. The battle was part of a revolt. Right. Try to negotiate peace. A poorly chosen Burgundian password, Burgundy. Okay. See, now that's a reasonable battle, I think. Artillery, barrage. Charles the Bold. Okay, so Charles the Bold was in a battle with Philip the Good. Okay. Always arrived too late for every battle. Oh, okay. Okay, so battles. Commanders and leaders. Let's go to the revolt. That's where I'm at, right? Wounded in action. Belligerence. Okay, there's Ghent. Middle Ages. '20th century. I don't need to know all that. Okay. Let's try this. Battle of Golden Spurs. Bannockburn. Okay. Creasy. Agincourt. Let's try that. Battle of Basel. 1452. Philip the Good. Wait, right here. Battle of Neville. Okay. It does not have an... Okay, search Battle of Neville and we'll clear... Okay. It had a link, but it goes to nowhere. Okay. That's a cool looking castle. I want a map. I guess I could Google map it. But it's not giving me like troops or anything like that. War in the Low Countries. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'm not going to do it online. I'm not going to do it while I'm streaming. I'll look at it in detail at some other point. Let's go ahead and get rid of the center display. Or not. There we go. I'll get rid of that. I'll get rid of my Burgundian army list. There we go. And okay, we're back. I'm gonna let these dry for another hour or so before I put the brown on them. I'm definitely gonna focus on, I guess I'll do the whole thing in brown. And what I used was this color, which was black brown for the base coat. I guess I could have used German camo black brown, but I think this works just fine. It might be too dark. Maybe I could use Grim Brown. I think it's the same color. This is chocolate brown, if I remember right. Chocolat brown. I've got an oak brown around here somewhere, or maybe it's shit, I don't remember what color it's called. Not the dark brown. Dark brown isn't dark enough. That's grim. That's black, which I think grim is more black than black brown. Maybe not. It's hard. It's kind of hard to tell in these bottles. I'm definitely not using the German camel black brown or the chocolate brown. I thought I had another really dark brown. I thought it was like oak or something like that. Well, there's oak brown. Oh, I remember what it was called. It was called burnt umber. Yeah, burnt umber. Oak is more brown than anything else. So we're not going to use oak. Oak I might use for like spear shafts and stuff like that. Grim and burnt umber, very close. I might experiment. A little bit of grim, a little bit of burnt, a little bit of black brown, just to see which ones come out best. These colors will all be used. We're going to use a white. We're going to use a yellow heraldry color. We're going to use a smoke black. We're going to use leather. For those gloves. I think I'm going to use a buff for any gloves that might be showing. I think I'm going to use light flesh, which is pretty much the same as barbarian flesh. I think the armor, I'm going to use this chainmail silver. I have something up here called plate mail, but yeah, plate mail metal. Chainmail silver is way darker than plate mail, even though, I don't know, maybe I use the plate mail. I'll use the chainmail if that's too bright. think those are all the colors I need. Red, white, green, blue, black, yellow. If you didn't know anything about heraldry, um, heraldry has a rule of something called metals and colors, and black is considered neither. So you can put black against either a metal or a color. That doesn't matter. But white and yellow are considered metals. Gold and silver is technically the metals they represent. And then there's colors, which are gules, azure, and vert, which is your red, blue, and green. You in heraldry, you're never supposed to put two colors touching each other. That's not true. Let me back up. You're never supposed to put a color on top of another color. So, excuse me. So, if you had like a red shield, you should not have a blue lozenge or a blue cross or a blue anything sitting on top of the red. That should be one of the two colors. But if you're splitting the shield, one side red, one side blue, that should be no problem. And then you put the charge, which is the animal or whatever, on top of that. That's got to be one of the colors. There's a lot of rules when it comes to heraldry. Luckily, I know them. I'm very familiar with the rules of heraldry. There's also something called a fur, which is kind of an off. It's like a mink or like a mink fur. It's basically in heraldry. It's white with a bunch of black dots. That's considered a fur, and that can be put on anything as well. But that would be a pain in the ass to paint fur, and I don't think fur showed up until later in the Middle Ages. Like I said, I'm just going to be painting the basic Middle Age colors. Just the basics. But we're going to start with a base coat of these colors. I'm going to see which one's better. I don't know if I'm going to be painting anything leather. Because a few of them might have pants on. But most of these guys have metal sabatons or whatever they're called that cover the feet. All right, guys. Well, that's what we're going to call it. I've been on here quite a bit of time, and I want to do a few other things today before I get to painting those. I will be recording. I'll probably do it later tonight, because I think today is getting kind of short. Recording a video with my peasants. I'll upload that sometime tonight. You'll probably see it early tomorrow morning. So check that out. And by that time, I should have a lot of these foot nights well on their way. But I'm going to eat some lunch and get started after that. So thank you for coming out and checking me out. Be sure to check out my eBay store. It's located at ebay.com/STR, which I think represents store, Wargaming in Miniature. Check me out there. I've got miniatures for sale. Um, if you have any requests, like if you'd like to see me carry a specific model or model line or era, like if you're interested in the Civil War or if you're interested in, I don't know, the Persian War or something like that, let me know and I might be able to squeeze some more of those miniatures into my lineup. Um, Also, if you have a commission that you want me to paint miniatures for you, go ahead and drop me an email at Mr. Everything, or it's Mr. dot everything dot SC101. So think of it like Mr. Everything dot SC101 at gmail.com. Um, I'd be glad to send you a price quote if it's not already in the description below. Um, I don't have any commissions going right now. I've just been painting stuff for myself and for the store. So if you want me to put my own miniature collection on pause and paint something for you, I'd be glad to do it. I'm encouraged. You know, if you've got some Napoleonic cavalry you need painted, or you got some World War II anti-tank guns, or if you've got some Space Marines that you need painted, or some Dark Elves, or some skeletons, or whatever you need, let me know, and I'd be glad to help you out with that. All right, I'll catch you in the next one.